What's good, ladies and gents? Welcome back to MKO Boxing, aka MKO Pugilism, where we talk all things boxing. Remember to like and subscribe on YouTube, follow on TikTok, all that good stuff. So let's get into this one. So the main event last night was, of course, Joe the Juggernaut Joyce versus Filip Hrgovic, El Animal. And yeah, this of the night, this was one of the best fights on the card. This was full of action. And yeah, was it overall? I'd say this was a good fight. Last chance saloon for both guys, really. Hrgovic, if he lost last night, you know, it's as good as career over. Joyce, even more so, can afford to lose, because you're talking a man that's 39 years old. You know, he's going to be 40 soon. So, you know, he needed to win this one. And of course, in the end, you know, my prediction originally, you know, called this one pretty much right. Hrgovic on points, and that's exactly what happened. But it was an interesting fight nonetheless, because it was still relatively close. I mean, the opening rounds were definitely gone to Filip Hrgovic, and he really did, you know, throw the kitchen sink at Joyce early in this fight. Every punch under the sun, just winging him in, using that big speed advantage that he has over Joyce. And, you know, he was just lighting Joyce up, and to the point where I thought it was all going to be over by about round two, by the looks of it, you know, because Hrgovic was just lighting Joyce up and, you know, punching him all over the ring, really. In those early two rounds, punching him all over the ring. It was brutal. And you looked at it and thought, well, surely Joe can't take more of this. But to Joyce's credit, he recovered and he came back. And I would say that Joyce, from sort of the, you know, third, fourth onwards, going up until sort of 7 and 8, Joyce definitely took a lot of those rounds, and he took a lot of rounds on work rate, because you had Filip Hrgovic, who his work was always sort of the cleaner, crisper work. His punches were just delivered better. Obviously, with Joyce being so slow, Hrgovic was always getting there first with the combinations, but the disadvantage he had was that he was always on the ropes. He was always on the back foot. He was getting pushed back by Joyce. So Joyce would probably land the sort of greater number of shots. Overall, Joyce was sort of landing more, but the impactful shots that catch your eye and that were, you know, correctly delivered, the powerful, the shots that were, you know, the highest quality, were always coming from Filip Hrgovic. Whereas Joyce, some of the work was quite sloppy, it was quite slow, and he outworked Filip Hrgovic for a lot of that middle period of the fight. But then again, he had the problem where Filip Hrgovic sort of came alive again towards the end of the fight. So when we were in 8, 9, and 10, Filip Hrgovic done very well in those rounds, and he kind of came into his own. He you know, because he went for a long period, Hrgovic, from sort of the beginning to the middle rounds of this fight, where it was looking like the Joyce show. Joyce was landing. Joyce was hitting him with combinations. Slow as they were, he was still landing, and he managed to hurt Hrgovic at times. But then, unfortunately for Joyce, Hrgovic closed the fight very well. So those last 3 rounds were pretty much all Hrgovic. Hrgovic was able to again wobble Joyce and have him all over the place. But Joyce is so strong and so tough that he just didn't go anywhere. He you know, he just stood his ground and stood strong, and you know, saw it to the final bell. But for me, with him losing those last couple of rounds, those last 3 rounds or so, you know, it was just too much to overcome on points for Joyce. I think he needed a knockdown or something, or two maybe, to sort of deal with the deficit that he was in. So yeah, that's what happened there. Um, it was a close fight, nip and tuck. But I think Hrgovic closing the show, beginning very well, closing the show. For me, Hrgovic definitely done enough to win. For Joyce, this is a good time where you could even just hang him up. Really, to be honest with you, he's got nothing to prove to anyone. It's he's had a decent career. I think for me, yeah, now's the time he can sort of hang it up. Obviously, because world level, he's not going to do anything at world level now. That ship has sailed. He can only sort of do gatekeeper stuff now. And I think, yeah, with the age and stuff, you're coming up to 40. Don't think he's got anything more to prove now. He probably won't do that. He probably will fight on. But for me, I'd say done more than enough now, Joe. Just I'd say just hang him up now and enjoy some retirement. He's made a lot of money. So, yeah, that's it for me. That's what I think of it. But anyway, let me know your thoughts on this in the comment section. Until next time, Sam Kill Boxing, over and out.